Hello, my name is Matthew Magela. This lesson is for week 1 of Introduction to Music Production on coursera.org, which I will be teaching. The topic is audio basics, split into these 4 categories: propagation, amplitude, frequency, and timbre. Sound is everywhere. We have evolved to sense it through our ears and even through vibrations. To understand how sound behaves and how we perceive it, we need to take a closer look at some key concepts: amplitude, frequency, timbre, and propagation. Let's explore how these elements work together to create sound. Propagation. Sound travels through the air, bouncing off objects or getting trapped by them or dampened. Think of a padded cell for the criminally insane, where the nurses don't hear the intense screaming because their cells are padded. You can see in this diagram that sound travels through warm air faster than it does cooler air. Similarly, very high-end studios or specialized studio schools will have special recording rooms with wood paneling, diffusers on walls, or stone walls. These materials affect the sound to achieve a desired result. There are special microphones designed for equalizing and treating your room, helping you create better mixdowns. By using a special EQ on your studio master, you can improve your mixdowns. This is closely tied to how the sounds bounce off walls, creating reflections. When sound bounces off one wall and then another, the waves can interfere with each other, canceling themselves out or affecting how you hear the sounds in your studio. Otherwise known as sound propagation, sound moves from one point to another. Sound is a mechanical wave that can travel through water or air, but not the vacuum of space. No one can hear you scream in space. There is no sound in the vacuum of space. As something vibrates, it creates sound waves that push molecules into the medium, transferring the energy. Next, we're going to talk about amplitude. So I've got a kick here playing a high velocity, and I've got the same kick playing a lower velocity. Let's see how it affects the sound. Here's a spectrum and an oscilloscope. High amplitude kick. Low amplitude kick. Frequency is related to pitch. The higher the frequency... Or did I just skip all that? Amplitude refers to the sound of a wave's vibration. When you want to make something louder, you amplify it. For example, with a bass guitar, the amplitude determines how loud the sound is. If the amplitude is small, the sound will appear quieter, whereas a larger amplitude results in a louder sound, as we've just seen in this example. Think of a snare drum. When you lightly tap it, you produce a smaller, quieter sound. However, when you strike it harder, the amplitude increases and the sound becomes much louder, as we've seen in our demonstration. Next, let's talk about frequency. Frequency is related to pitch. The higher the frequency, the higher the pitch. This is measured in hertz, where 1 hertz equals 1 cycle per second. A high-pitched sound like a crash cymbal on a drum set, or a whistle into the mic, which hits around 1K, or a low sound like a sub, a sine wave, or a kick drum. In this case, I'm doing a sub. See how it's hitting the low area there? Right, so that's frequency. Next up, let's talk about timbre. Alright. Timbre, also known as the color or tone quality of a sound, allows us to distinguish between two different instruments playing the same note. For example, a violin. There's a violin playing C. And a trumpet, both playing the same note. But they each have their own unique sound. The difference is due to their timbres. Timbre is influenced by harmonics, the materials of the instrument, such as strings for the violin and metal for the trumpet, and how the sound is being produced. One is being blown into with air, while the other produces sound through vibrating strings. Conclusion: sound is a complex interaction of various factors. Instruments that produce sound, such as air horns, stringed instruments, bass guitars, amplifiers, and drums, which are played with wooden sticks, all contribute to the overall sound. Drums can also be tuned to fit a song, a technique we often used in EDM. The amplitude of a sound, how hard the instruments are played, affects our perception of it. Each instrument has its own unique, distinct sound, and we can recognize the same note whether it's played on a bass guitar, a violin, or another instrument. Our natural ability to hear vibrations and timbres, whether amplified or quiet, is thanks to sound propagation through the medium, the very air we breathe. Understanding all of this in more detail makes me appreciate things like listening to a CD in the car, talking to someone, attending a concert, or even enjoying a picnic in the park. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.